Scotland and Argentina, folks. This game goes down to the last play of the game. We'll go through some key events and the stats, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on this deciding test between these two teams. Great stadium. First time I've seen, I forget the name of the stadium, but the first time I've seen a game played there. Really great crowd, like genuinely picturesque stuff. I'm not usually a fan of oval pitches, but I thought it looked a real picture, and the crowd, who were pretty vocal, were treated to quite a display. I think we got like 4 lead changes in this game. It's a proper test match, like I said. But yeah, we'll go through the key events and stats, and you guys can let me know your thoughts. So, I mean, both sides win turnovers early. Darge was everywhere. Grondona. Both these guys win in turnovers. Argentina were looking dangerous. Final pass, maybe not quite there early on. Not really able to convert. Delguy showing a bit of bravery when he's got the ball in his own goal area. He doesn't want to drop out. He wants to just run it back. So bit of bravery, and first points of the game go to the Argentinians. Long range penalty for Boffelli. So 3 points to 0. He does have a real big boot on him. But goodness me, the restarts from both these teams, you'll be losing your hair if you're a coach of these teams. I mean, I guess actually it's fitting. Checker and Townsend don't have that much in that department anyway. But yeah, the restarts. Argentina poor from the restart leads to the Duan van der Merwe try. Kinghorn does well to set that one up. So 7 points to 3. That's your first lead change. But then there's magic from Argentina in return. I guess there's one good thing about playing Carreras at 10 is he's genuinely got absolute gas, doesn't he? And I mean, he's helped by, I think it's Delguy and Boffelli in the build-up to that try. Some good hands, some good bravery from the Argentinian outside backs, which is maybe something we didn't see that much of under Ledesma. But yeah, proper gas from Carreras to finish it off. So they hit back with a try of their own. 10 points to 7. Second lead change. Scotland 5-metre line out. Guess what? Another lead change. A maul. And a good second shove sends Ashman over. So 14 points to 10. Like proper back and forth stuff. This is the kind of game that I love to watch, especially if you're a neutral. You want to see the back and forth action. It's genuinely just quite pleasing. Argentina did miss a long-range penalty, but then got a next one a few minutes later. So it's a 1-point ball game going into halftime. Scotland did miss one chance to maul it over when their line-out was stolen, which is maybe something I wish more teams would do if you are struggling to stop it on the ground. Why not give it a go in the air? I know the logic is you weaken the attempt to block it on the ground if you've sent someone up to jump. But if they're scoring when you're not jumping anyway, you might as well just jump. So they jump and they steal the Scottish ball. They did a weird job of clearing it. Vélez passes it to nobody and then picks it up and then clears. So a little bit of kind of heart in your mouth stuff. But yeah, Kinghorn misses a penalty before halftime. So yeah, it's just the 1-point ball game at halftime. It's really been proper, as I said, back and forth. We've seen some good tries, and we're treated to more tries in the second half. Ashman, he's going over in the wingers channel like a one on the outside. So winger up against the hooker. That's Ashman flattening Delguy. Yeah, good try from Scotland. 21-13. Darge is getting more breakdown turnovers, and then Duan van der Merwe gets a try. 11 phases from Scotland. Starts with Matt Fagerson putting, I think it might even start back with the Darge turnover, but then Matt Fagerson putting Bennett into a bit of space. Nice kind of slick play from the Scots. 28-13 is a pretty good lead. I know it's still kind of early days because Duan's tries before the 50-minute mark, so we've still got half an hour to go. But 28-13 is a nice lead. Like, what can you do to throw away a 28-13 lead? Well, you can give away a soft obstruction penalty. I think that one was Bennett from the restart again. So that gives a chance to Argentina. Do they take it? Absolutely. Titus Chaparro goes over like the next phase after Creevy had gone close from the maul. So they needed that, the Argentinians. It was kind of gifted to them in terms of the field position. 28 points to 20. Still 2-score game. Scotland win a scrum penalty to maybe arrest that momentum shift back in their favour, but then they missed the line out. Argentina knock it on an attack. You're kind of waiting for one side to really take this game by the scruff of the neck. Who's going to do it? Well, Xander Fagerson wins another scrum penalty. And interestingly, at 64 minutes, the Scots opt for the 3. And if there's one thing we've seen this weekend that's been a little bit successful, it's teams kind of going for the jugular. Not necessarily just taking the threes. You wanna chase the 5 or the 7. They opt for the 3, so it's 31-20. I mean, I can say that in hindsight that maybe you should have chosen a different option, but it's a test match, so there's no shame in taking the 3s. Often that is the difference, right, in tight games. But 31-20 is still relatively comfortable, but it's only going to take one more try to get the Argentinians back in it. And do they get it? Yes, they do. Bertrand, 66 minutes. He gets a try. They've had phases. They've gone through advantage, and it all comes from Carreras with the kickoff being kind of pinpoint accurate right next to the sideline. So Rufus McLean has to take it, gets driven into touch. So it's Argentinian ball. If that ball goes like another meter, it's a poor kickoff, but it ends up being perhaps luckily, but very accurate. So 31-27, that's back to being game on. But then Argentina from the restart can't exit. They get charged down when they're trying to kick it out of their own territory. So pressure immediately comes back on them. They concede a penalty. And this time Scotland do change tact and they go for touch. So they do go for the kind of knockout blow. Johnny Gray manages to get over the line, but he's held up. So that's definitely a game-turning moment. If that's a try, I think Scotland probably go on to win this one, but they can't. And then from here on out, it's mostly Argentina on attack. 72 minutes, they're on attack. Matera concedes a penalty. That being said, Price kicking it out on the full on 74 minutes also didn't help. So that puts them immediately back under pressure. But then Argentina knock it on. So it's a little bit of a comedy of errors. But then 77 minutes, the crowd's getting into it. Argentina's going through the phases. They opt for a scrum 5 meters out. By the time the scrum actually sets, you've got about 10 seconds left on the clock, on the TV clock anyway. I don't know what the match clock, but they get advantage. They spin it left. The final pass goes wide to Boffelli, who's able to go over. The crowd loses their minds. Absolutely phenomenal end to the game. And then the try scorer even ends up converting the bloody thing to make it 34-31. So really good comeback win from the Argentinians. Scotland will be really disappointed to throw away 28-13 lead. But yeah, there was a few moments for them that just didn't quite pay off, and Argentina just kept fighting and kept fighting. Their backs are certainly, I think, I'd like to look at the numbers at some point, but certainly seeing a bit more ball than what we saw under Ledesma. I mean, Argentina are at home, which is also something we didn't have under Ledesma with COVID, but yeah, It's pleasing to see guys like Delguy and Boffelli, Carreras, all these guys really getting a chance to run the ball. Possession and territory finishes, well, the possession's pretty even, but the territory is 62-38, so Argentina do well in that department. Run meters 417 to 320, again in Argentina's favour. They do knock the ball on a bit too much, 8 times to Scotland's 5, so that'll be a little bit troubling. And another game, those missed chances towards the end, like if Price hadn't kicked it out, that would have cost Argentina, I think, but Scotland in a way kind of left a minute, but Scotland were pleased. 20 defenders beaten to 9. That's showing some pretty good attack. Guys like Zuhan busting some tackles is always pleasing. Tackling, 155 tackles from Scotland, 146 from Argentina, so pretty close, but Scotland at 95%, and yet they still concede a few tries. So even 95% wasn't good enough, which is unusual. Usually 95 is a game-winning performance. Argentina down at 80 will be a little bit troubling with the Rugby Championship on the horizon, but I don't mean to take anything away from the win. Carreras, 89 run meters, clean break, defender beaten in a try. Not bad. Delguy, 55 meters, 3 defenders beaten. Also not bad. Facundo Issa, maybe we think more about his big ball carries, but 14 from 14 tackles. Good shift from him. Not as good as Darge, who makes 17 from 17. That guy is certainly a phenomenal player. Him and Watson are a pretty good combo. But maybe there's going to be a conversation at some point if you play Watson or Darge rather than both. I'm not sure. Ferguson, 60 run meters. That's Matt. 2 defenders beaten. Dylan van der Merwe. 5 defenders beaten. A clean break in 34 meters. But yeah, disappointing one for the Scots in the end. This video is probably going to go up a little bit late because I'm currently sitting here with no power, recording on my wife's work laptop because my laptop's battery's buggered. So the color and stuff might be a bit off on the video because she doesn't have the camera software installed, so it's just on autofocus and auto color. So I think I look a little bit blue. But anyway, You guys let me know your thoughts on the game. If you're an Argentinian fan, you're surely chuffed. I'm going to head over to my parents' place, hang out with them for a bit. I've got no power until 5 o'clock, as I said here at 9:50 in the morning, so I will look to leech off their internet for the morning, hopefully at some point, and upload the video. But yeah, whatever time this goes up, I hope you guys are well, enjoyed the game. I love a game that goes right down to the wire, and this one was that. The crowd went crazy, so it was really pleasing to see the Argentinian fans have something to cheer about after having their team not play at home for such a long time. You could see what it meant to the players. For Scotland, certainly a depth-built tour, right? Some of their big guns didn't tour, so certainly some depth built. But yeah, we'll see. You guys let me know your thoughts, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.